paddleboard stream where we're going to go out on the water and see if we can spot some wildlife together. I'm pretty excited because I've been out to this location once before and have seen all sorts of different wildlife, from albatross to cormorants, also known as shags. In fact, we already have a few watching us right now from one of the pillars. So I've got you on a tripod. I'll do the paddling, but you need to help me watch. And we're going to start with these ones just right up here. So we've got two little shags on the post and one black-backed gull hanging out with us. And it looks like the shags are being just a little bit nervous about us being here, so maybe we'll carry on. If you're hanging out with me today, let me know. I'm keen to hear what the weather, what nature is like near you, and I'm excited to share this beautiful sunny day with you here in Aotearoa, New Zealand. The water is quite calm, the tide is coming in, and the wind is almost non-existent, but if it does pick up, it's supposed to be coming at us from the northeast, which is good for me because it means I won't have as much work to do. For now, I'm going to flip you around and give you a look out at the horizon. So this is where I'm intending to take us, out along the point. Hopefully there won't be too many people out fishing so that we can hug the shore and look for kekeno, the New Zealand fur seal. Now my hope today is that by getting outside and exploring, we all get a chance to appreciate the outdoors just a little bit more together and maybe share some knowledge as well. I've been living down here in Aotearoa, New Zealand for about 11 years now. It is one of my favorite places to go exploring outdoors. And I'm originally from the US, from Washington State. So if you're hearing that in my accent and wondering why I don't sound too Kiwi, that's why. So again, we're pointing out towards Harrington Point, towards Taroa Head, where there's a royal albatross colony. I'm hoping to take us along the shore, over some kelp forests, and if we're really lucky and feeling incredibly ambitious, I might take us across to Aramoana. We'll see how we're feeling, we'll see what the weather does with us, and we'll just see what we can find, really. As you're tuning in, I am happy to chat, so let me know what you're seeing. If you see anything you're particularly curious about, also let me know. And I'll do my best to take a closer look. As I said in the description, I'll do the paddling, you help me watch for it, the different wildlife. And together, hopefully, we'll have a really good time. Let's see. What are some things we might see out here today? I like to kind of start an adventure thinking about what I'm hoping to see, but also reminding myself that we are in the wild, so there's no guarantees. As far as what we might see, there will probably be quite a few gulls around. You'll see some of the local New Zealand gull life, even some of the more endangered ones. We're also going to be heading near shore where the kekeno, the New Zealand fur seal, might be hanging out. They have kind of a pointy nose and like resting up on the rocks. Of course, if we're really lucky, one might get curious and check out the paddleboard here. Hopefully not too curious, because we don't want it to sink. But we also may end up seeing a sea lion, which have been returning to our shores here from the subantarctic islands over, the past 20 or so years. They were kind of hunted and pushed away and have been, in fact, it was one mother in particular started the return, and she decided that there was a beach nearby that she thought would be good for having her pups. And that's kind of started this slow increase in population. So if we're really lucky, a sea lion might hop by and say hello. They're quite large. They'll probably give me a little bit of a fright. Hopefully they won't bother us too much. If we are super lucky, we may even get to spot a little blue penguin. That would be pretty rare and pretty amazing. In the meantime, ahead of us right now is a shag that just went underwater as I tried to zoom. We'll see if they come back up. So if you're from the northern hemisphere, you might know them as cormorants. But down here, they're called shags. We'll probably see a few of them on our little journey today. So help me keep an eye out. If you do see wildlife, or if you see something that looks interesting, shout it out in the comments. You can shout bird or seal or anything really, just help draw my attention to it so we all get a chance to see. Now let's check this friend out. So here's one of our shags. These are a diving bird. They can still fly. I feel like they're kind of an ideal blend of swimming capability and flight, because unlike penguins that can only swim, shags are able to still get off the water. One sacrifice they've had to make, though, is that they can't be as waterproof as like a gull or a duck, for example. So they can get quite waterlogged, and we'll probably see some out on shore with their wings out, resting and drying their wings off before they can do good flight effort. I'm going to zoom us back out again so you have a chance to see the whole scape. And if anything starts to feel a little off, you start to feel a little, I don't know, seasick or something, let me know. I can always flip the camera around and give you someone stable to look at while we paddle our way out there. So I see a few people popping up in chat here and there. I haven't seen any commenting yet, so I just have to say, if you're watching, say hi. Let me know you're out there. Let me know you can hear me and that things are coming through okay. I'd really appreciate that. And in the meantime, I'm going to get us a little closer to shore out here. Underneath of us at the moment, it's quite a calm sandy bottom. I can see the bottom. The water's quite clear, actually. Oh, hello, friend. So I'm going to just kind of gently carry us past the shag, and we'll see. Right now they're looking a little bit nervous. They're watching us pretty intently. So we're just going to quietly drift and let them relax as they look at us. There, it looks like they're calming down a little bit. They've put a little more distance on us. Notice the long, thin beak. There's a hook at the end. That hook helps them grab fish, which is pretty impressive when you think about an air animal diving in and chasing sea creatures around underwater. All right, we'll turn back forward and have a look at where we're going. I'll flip back around and chat to you some more. I'll give you a little bit of my background and why we're out here doing this. So, hold on. That didn't seem like a shag. That seemed more like a mammal. Help me watch the water. I swear I just saw something duck underneath. Could be a seal. Could even be a dolphin. I only caught a glimpse of the motion. Of course, I'm also scanning under the water, looking to see if they happen to zip by. Well, there's our shag friend. Definitely wasn't the shag. Huh. Oh, maybe it was. Guess we have 3 shags out there now. All right, fair enough. Let's keep going. Hopefully you're getting good sound. I think the water itself can be quite relaxing. I know I enjoy outings like this. If you're looking carefully, you might be able to see the silhouette of the shag up on the post. There's 2 of them up there. I'm guessing one's a little shag on the top, and one might be a spotted shag underneath, so I can't be 100% sure. Hopefully as we get around to the point, we'll get a little bit better lighting, and we'll be able to see more of their colors. So going back to what we're doing out here today, really just trying to take a moment and appreciate this wonderful world that's all around us. I know that I feel really connected to things when I'm outside. I love the reminder that there's all of these lives going on around us all the time, and if we only just stop to take a moment, we can share in those lives. We can see, acknowledge, and enjoy them. As you can see, we're getting a little bit closer to the point here. We'll see if there's anyone out fishing. I can see a couple of boats out there. Over on the left is an area called Aotearoa. That's another place where a lot of people go to see a lot of kekeno, a lot of the New Zealand fur seals. It is also a location where I've occasionally seen albatross fly by and little blue penguins. All right, so we're getting a bit closer. Going back to what I'm hoping to see today. If we're lucky, we'll be going out past out around the Royal Albatross colony. And the Royal Albatross colony is a protected area where we've got a bunch of nesting chicks. In fact, here on YouTube, there's a Royal Albatross cam, and they've got a couple of cute little fluffy babies out right now, which are well worth checking out. But today I'm hoping that as we go out towards it, we might see some come flying by, in which case I will do my best to give you a nice view of it. The cool thing about the Royal Albatross that are out here is they don't just stay in the oceans around Aotearoa. They actually, after fledging, leap off the cliffs out there and go soaring out across the Pacific to Chile in South America. And the cool part is they won't touch land again for 4 years. They are experts at taking advantage of the slightest wind currents that can come off of waves. So you may not think about it too much, but when a wave crashes, it actually moves the air around above it. And albatross in particular have this incredible ability to take advantage of that air movement, which gives them the ability to go out across the sea for so far. They can rest on the wing and they can rest on the surface of the water. And like I said, we won't see them touch land again for 4 years. And when they do, they'll fly back from Chile and arrive here, landing at Aotearoa Head, finding a partner they may stay with for life in some cases. And then starting a family all over again. So I'm hopeful. There's not a lot of wind. I always tell people when they're coming out here that some of your best days for albatross viewing are on the windy days. Now, the windy days are not the best days for paddleboarding. As you can imagine, I'm starting to feel this a little bit now. There's a bit of a northeasterly coming in around the point. We're going to tuck in behind the rocks here, keep an eye out for the Kokeno fur seals, any other birds that might be hanging out, and just see what we can turn up. Turn you back around so you can see this beautiful day we're having. There's been a lot of restoration work going into predator proofing the peninsula. If you're not familiar, New Zealand has a pretty big predator problem where a lot of released species have come in and started eating and displacing a lot of the native bird life, which is a real shame. We've got some really amazing stuff down here. And so the peninsula has a limited access point, and so there's been a lot of work going into trapping and preserving this area in order to allow the wildlife to recover. Which hopefully we'll get a chance to enjoy a little bit today. Now I'm happy to keep guiding and chatting with you here, but I'd love to know where people are watching from and what you get up to when you go outside. Are there favorite places that you like to go? Ooh, we have a shag going across, flying. One thing I noticed with shag flight is that they almost never glide. They make flying look hard. And partly that's because they can get so waterlogged. Here's something we all can appreciate. On the rocks is a young blackback gull. And if you've got any gulls in your area, you may have noticed that during some times of the year, gray ones pop up and maybe act a little bit noisy. Well, this is juvenile plumage. And that noisiness, that squeakiness that it's doing is kind of a begging. There is an adult right there, white with a black back, hence the name. And so this youngster is kind of begging, hoping to get some snacks from their parent. Now, as unique as the wildlife is here, I'm also hoping that we get a chance to appreciate the familiar things, the creatures that we share, if you will. So if you see something that looks familiar to you, if you see something that if you see something that you like, shout them out. And I'm about to zoom us in. There's some shags hanging out here on the rocks. And we'll zoom in on them. See if you can spot them before I point them out. I know it's a little bit bumpy. I'll try and smooth this out. So the shags, oh, there we go. There they go. They can be a little nervous sometimes. That little squeak is our young gull friend. The adults are now having a thing or two to say, announcing our arrival. I'm going to start scanning the shores for kakeno, for those fur seals. So I'm going to give you a little view of that as well. And what we're looking for, you're basically looking for a furry rock. They can be a bit hard to spot. They turn a lighter brown when they're dry. Otherwise, they'll be a bit dark. You'll notice that we're going over some kelp forests. I love this kind of habitat. This is where fish and stuff like to hang out and hide. One of these times, I want to get out here with the snorkel on. I really like trying to record underwater videos lately. I've been putting a camera on the bottom and letting all the wildlife get used to it so that we can see like the different fish and things. Alright. No kakeno yet. Okay. We have the one black-backed gull there on the right. I'm seeing some bright red anemones on the shore. Watch how they glide like that. I love gulls. I love gull flight, to be more specific. One, I think anything that can live around us and thrive is impressive, because we're not the easiest animals on the planet to live with. But more so, if you've never paused to watch a gull fly, I feel like you're missing out. Their wings catch the air so effortlessly. I feel like they're a really good balance between something like an albatross that is kind of built explicitly for soaring and like a hawk, which still requires quite a lot of effort and care to get into the air. And I just feel like gulls have kind of a perfect balance of all of that. They can catch the easy wind. I've been up on tops of mountains around here and have seen gulls flying over the top, the blackbacks in particular, flying over the top, which has impressed me. And so I always try and kind of shout out their flight capabilities. In fact, if I were able to fly like any animal, I think that a gull would be how I would want to fly the most. We do still have a friend, I believe. Yeah. All right, I can see a kakeno. See if you can spot them in the rocks. We'll let the wind turn us just a little bit. There we go. There's our young black-backed gull, but there's a light brown rock with a pointy snout up there. And that is a kakeno. That is a fur seal. We're being serenaded by the sweet song of the black-backed gull, who is a bit nervous that their juvenile is on the rock while we're coming in. There, can take a moment. It's funny, I see them on the rocks like this, and I can't imagine it looks comfortable. But I suppose since they're the smaller of our pinnipeds, they'll take whatever habitat the larger aren't. And the sea lions, the larger ones, like resting on the sand. I'm using the zoom on my camera because I don't want to get too close. It's really important to me that we model kindness to the wildlife that we see. That we think about what's normal for them, we look at their mannerisms, and we don't get too close. We don't disturb them if we can at all avoid it. And we just enjoy them in their life. Now we are making this black-backed gull a little bit nervous, but they've stayed landed, which makes me think that that we're still within their tolerable range. I'm going to keep us going. I'm going to swing wide so that we don't risk making this Pocono feel like we're going to get too close. Also, just as a heads up, there are legal protections around a lot of these animals, so we're going to be very careful not to disturb them, aside from just approaching our explorations of wildlife with curiosity tempered with kindness. We're going to make sure and not cross any boundaries. If you're hanging out and watching, let me know where you're watching from. I'd be really curious to know where people are joining from today. As I've said, I am originally from the US, from Washington State. However, I have been living down here in Aotearoa, New Zealand for the last 11 years. I came down for a master's program in science communication, and I'm really passionate about trying to give people a chance to access nature on their own terms sometimes, and in a very non-destructive way, which is part of what's inspired this bit of streaming today. We're also doing a little bit of a test here. Oh, we've got a couple of red-billed gulls. These are our more endangered gulls flying by. You'll see them on the left in just a moment. There they are. They have a nesting colony out here as well. Oh, and a shag flying low. Two shags flying low. As we come around the corner, we may spot some people who are out here fishing today. We are drifting over a kelp forest, and so this can be a really good place to find different animals. You'll also see some World War II gun emplacements. There was concern back in the day that boats could try and come into the harbor, and so they built these pop-up gun emplacements that have now become something more like graffiti art galleries. They're quite pretty, actually. But as we come around the corner, see if you can spot them on the shore. And I'll keep looking for wildlife out in the water, because now we are looking out at the Pacific. There's one of our first gun emplacements for today. As I mentioned, the tide is coming in, so I'm going to be curious to see what that does to us current-wise. Often, my paddleboard here is pushed around more by... Oh, there's something in the water. A mammal of some sort ahead of us. I believe either that or it's a piece of kelp. No, that's a sea lion. Okay. So our best approach with sea lions is just to be boring. Now what I'm going to do is just kind of stay close to the kelp here. So sea lions are the big boss of this area, and they probably will just be curious. Maybe they'll come check us out, but I'm just going to kind of tuck in close to shore just in case this one becomes a little bit playful. I've only had a couple of sea lion experiences out here on the water. And so far they've mostly just like rolled up, had a look at me. One gave me a nudge, which was kind of funny. Oh, maybe we're not being visited today. They seem to have gone under. So again, I'm just trying to move us over, keep us a little bit close to shore. I'm watching the water underneath because they have that tendency of popping up when we least expect them. Out there on the horizon is Aotearoa Head. That is where the Royal Albatross colony is. And if the current and wind plays nice, we might head that way. Okay, I'm thinking this sea lion has lost some interest, so I'm going to go ahead and proceed. I haven't seen them surface in a little bit. We've got a few wildlife tours going by us right now. You might hear the rumble. Albatross Express on the Monarch. Turn. We're going to get bobbed around a little bit in their waves, so prepare for that. Hopefully you're getting some good sounds. On the rock here we have another bird. These are oyster catchers. I'm going to let the paddleboard turn and you can see if you can spot them. They have an orange bill that's really good for prying different things off the rock, but more importantly reaching down into the sand. Ooh. Sorry for those waves. We also have a fishing boat poking its head out around us at the moment. So, if you live near the coast, there's a good chance you also have oyster catchers. I know over in Washington State we had a few. You'll see them around the country, different species. Some are more aggressive than others with their parenting, which is to say, sorry, these waves. We're just going to have to ride them out for a second. Oh, and there goes the oyster catcher. All right. Oh, and now we have our sea lion. Checking us out from underneath, and an albatross. Hi. Alright, we are being watched. Where'd he go? Okay, so he wasn't totally gone. Amazing how they just can come and go so fast. Hi, friend. He's right underneath of us right now, right along the bottom. I'm trying to be uninteresting. Oh man, he is right under us again. Oh, there's two. Alright, so we're trying to be boring at this point, so that they don't decide that we're anything to play with. If there are bears where you live, they're essentially... Oh, and we have an albatross going by. Check that out. That is that careful flight that I was commenting on before. Wow. Oh, this is great. This is not a royal, this is a smaller one. Not actually sure which species this is, but nothing flies quite like that. All right, we have an albatross today. That is pretty fantastic. I feel like all of the wildlife just descended on us here. And I think this albatross sees something it wants to eat. We're just a little bit too close. I'm seeing something floating in the water. So I'm going to back us off just a little bit. And we'll see if we can get some interesting behavior. Check that out. That's cool. Behind is a juvenile black-backed gull. Yeah. I feel like I should know which albatross this is. Like a Buller's or something like that, but I'm really not 100% sure. If anyone knows in chat or could look them up, they've got a grayer color and a bit of a scowl in the shadows of their face. That is just cool. And I'm happy to report, oh, there they go. I'm sorry, I was looking over my shoulder looking for the sea lions. And they're off. And they're off. And so are we. Get back up on top of the board a little bit. But hey, how exciting is that? We got to see an albatross and 2 sea lions already, and oh my gosh, this boat was not kind. Okay, hold on. Oh my gosh. That was not kind movement, boat. Thank you very little. Right. Appreciated them being a little bit slower. Fortunately, we're all right. All right. So, how cool was that? We had a couple of sea lions, and oh, the sea lion's still checking us out. Hold on. I'm not sure if they're going to come visit us again. So we're just going to sit and be boring for a second. Just going to go with the water. I'd like to go around the corner, guys. Will you let us pass? amazing how like long they can hold their breath. I'm just gonna, oh geez, you scared me, buddy. Okay. I'm just being boring again. And they should just chill. And we're being boring because we don't want to be playful. We don't want to seem like something fun to interact with. They certainly could, if they wanted to do some kind of damage, do so, but they generally aren't aggressive in the water like this. So I'm not worried in terms of us getting into any kind of injury. I mostly just don't want to become a plaything. So we're just going to drift into the kelp forest here. And I'm going to keep an eye on the water. That breath, could you hear them breathing? They just kind of burst that air up, and it's startling. That's what got me. It was just the sound and how they just kind of come out of nowhere. All right, they were heading further in to the harbor. They may go across to Aotearoa. So I'm going to start moving forward again. And we'll just see where we can get to. If we can get around the corner, that would be nice. Because then we could have a chance of seeing some more of the albatross in the air. I hope you're all enjoying this. I am. This is great. So up on the right here is another gun emplacement. World War II gun emplacement. Alright, so what can I really know about the sea lions? Well, I have to admit, as we go around this corner, I'm watching the water. Because it's about where we encountered them last time. I am feeling the current now. It's slowing me down just a little bit. But also I've chosen to be closer to shore. So the shallower water is pushing us a little bit more. Enjoy these birds flying overhead as they go by. The little ones flapping are the red-billed gulls, but then you'll see a couple of soaring blackback. Wow, water is just clear. It's beautiful today. This is a treat weather-wise. Out over Aotearoa Head there, that point, keep an eye out for the large gliding albatross. There's probably just enough wind, we may have a chance of seeing some of it. I'll tell you what, every dark piece of kelp underneath of me is turning to a sea lion at this point. I'm watching them. Just coming around the corner now. And we have another kakeno up on the rocks. See if you can spot them. This is the New Zealand fur seal. You'll probably also see the two black-backed gulls. And I'll zoom you in just a little bit. So it's important not to disturb them. They come out of the water to rest and dry off. Everyone needs a good nap sometimes. And when you think about how cold this water can be for us and just how much effort that goes into it, surely we can all relate to needing to haul out on occasion. A fun fact though, often when you see them lifting their flippers up, especially if they're in the water, it'll be because they're overheated. They've got such good insulation and are such powerful swimmers that they actually will need to air out sometimes just to cool down. Which I always find slightly impressive because if I stay in this water too long, I'll start to go numb. There's no no need to cool off for me. There's a friend, just getting comfortable. So you'll notice, if you were paying attention earlier, we saw the rounded noses of the sea lions. Well, this is the fur seal, and that nice sharp pointy nose, in addition to the fact that they're hanging out on the rocks here. Those are both indicators that we weren't seeing the same animal. A few waves pushing us around just a little bit here, so I'll try and keep us as still as I can. How exciting! How lucky are we today? This is great! Alright, and I'll give us a look. Keep watching the shore as I paddle, just in case there's some more hanging out. Oh, we got right in the shore. Oh, and our friends are back. Hello. Yes, I'm still here, buddy. Buddies. No longer. Pardon me, we've got sea lions under us again. Hi. Right now, they're hanging out behind us and under us. Oh, and there's a kakeno, there's a fur seal, I believe, out ahead of us. These guys checking us out. So again, I'm gonna pull wide. I'm not sure where to go at this point. They're all around us. Okay. Hi. We're all being friendly, right? Okay. So just to be clear, I am not trying to get around them, but they are much faster than we are. I appreciate their presence, for sure. They're amazing animals, but they are well worth respecting. Respecting their space, respecting the power that comes with them, but also appreciating their curiosity so far they've just been checking us out and we haven't been all that interesting. Just enough to come in and look at. So we're pretty lucky. How are you feeling right now? I'm feeling pretty good. How are you all doing watching this? This is a pretty good treat, to be honest. I wasn't sure what we would see. Just like I never know what we'll see when we come outside. And so this is a pretty wonderful treat. We're being looked at. And we've got the boats coming by again. Oh, I think we're being approached. So I am trying to use the zoom. Where did you go? Where did that dark shadow just go? Alright. I'm going to keep moving us forward. They seem to be eating something at the moment. Oh no, they're potentially play fighting. Let's see what's going on here. All right, let's move us out. Oh, we're being visited again. Yeah, I see you. It's amazing. They'll come by underneath and just check us out and then drift away. Okay. So I don't want to go too much further. I don't think we're going to make an attempt on the point today. And there's enough boat traffic that I'm not confident to go across the way, I don't think. Oh, we've got an albatross coming in past us. Come on. Oh, they're so hard to see out there. They just hang so low over the water and then are long gone. So let's keep moving. Zoom back out so you can see a little bit of a broader picture of where we're at. And I want to head over towards the point. We'll see how far we go. And then we'll start drifting back. But I'm hoping there'll still be some albatross up and about as we get out there closer. I highly recommend, if you are down here in Otago Dunedin, I highly recommend coming out to Taroa Head and checking out the albatross colony. And if you're not here, look for the Royal Albatross Colony live cam, because there is an adorable little fleek white chick out there right now. At some point, I need to stop and get some water. thirsty work doing all the paddling. But I wouldn't have it any other way. Those sea lions are pretty awesome. Pretty awesome to get to see. So I'm looking up at Throw Ahead at the moment. I haven't spotted any albatross coming through just yet. Sometimes they'll be high up around that point. So from your perspective, they'll just kind of be a speck that drifts by. So definitely keep your eye up there. When we come back, we'll drift closer to shore. I'm kind of just cutting the corner at the moment. I'm surprised at how shallow the water is out here. I didn't realize this bay was as shallow as it is. Oh, and I should introduce too. Over on the right, so we won't go ashore, we won't go near shore while we're out here, but over to the right you'll see a sandy bay. That is a little blue penguin nesting ground. And you'll see a platform on the shore. That platform is where they'll do tours from. Oh, we're in and amongst some little shrimp here. See if I can show you what I'm seeing. Okay, watch the water. They're gonna look like a splash. Okay, I'll reach out. They're jumping. Can you see them? So these are what I think are some krill. They're some kind of a little shrimp of some sort. And they're jumping because they're feeling the paddle hit the water, and jumping out of the water is a way of avoiding predators. So if you're being attacked from under the surface, something might lose you if you jump out. Fish will do this too. But they're feeling the paddle, feeling or hearing, and that's causing them to leap. That's kind of cool. I personally love animal behavior. I find it a fascinating thing to study, though I am not a biologist myself. I do spend a lot of time reading and learning, and animal behavior is one of my favorite things. I thought I heard something behind us, so I was just turning around to make sure our sea lion friends weren't coming to make some mischief. Not that they've made mischief for us yet, but the possibility is always there. When you've got an animal roughly the size of a bear with big sharp teeth and likes to play, there's possibilities of mischief, which is why I say we need to make sure and have that respect and care, which is also why I'm trying to be boring when they're around. I don't want them to look at us as something fun to play with. I would just as soon not end up going for a swim today with you all. I'm much happier on the paddleboard than under it. So I did call ahead. I called out yesterday because this is a protected area. I wanted to make sure that there was no chance that we would be disturbing the wildlife that lives out here. Again, it's very important to me that if we're going out on these outings, that we are being respectful and careful around the animals, both for our sake, but even more importantly for theirs. You know, there's a lot that if you're living out here in the wild, you gotta think about, and you don't need random paddleboarders stressing you out. So I called ahead to make sure that paddling around the water near the reserve shouldn't be a problem for any of the wildlife there. In particular, I wanted to make sure that the shags that have a nest on the shore, we'll take a look at their nesting area, but I wanted to make sure that we weren't going to accidentally be spooking them and causing them any distress. And I was relieved and happy to hear, yeah, that we shouldn't be bothering them with our presence. They did give us a heads up that, that there may be some sea lions and kikeno or seals out. Thanks for coming to hang out with me today. This is exciting. We are now reaching the mouth of Otago Harbour here, looking out at the Pacific. Well, the Pacific's ahead of us. Maybe I'll turn you around so you can see. We're looking at the Pacific, and generally we're looking over towards South America, which is pretty cool to think about. It's open ocean and islands between us and South America at this point. In fact, I don't even think there's that many big islands out that way, but I could be mistaken. As we come in nearer to the shore, you'll see there's kind of a tan patch, like a light sandy patch running up the slope. That's been kind of scraped away by the shags. They come in here and put their nests up on that slope, and that's caused some of the erosion around it. Also, most likely, the uric acid in their poop probably isn't helping with the soil quality of that slope either. But this is where they like to raise their chicks. This is where they like to build their nests, and we're out of the nesting season right now, so there aren't any chicks or anything up there. Any that we see will just be either stragglers or adults coming in to start to set things up. Yeah. This is probably about as far out to sea as I'm willing to take us today. I don't really want to go around the corner, and I'm noticing the waves are picking up just a little bit, and so given that we're running my phone on a tripod on top of the paddleboard, I don't really want to risk wiping out. So what we'll probably do is we'll turn around and go back closer to shore, and we'll see if what's resting. We'll see if there's any of the kikeno, the sea lions and stuff resting out there. But as far as this shag colony goes, I can zoom in a little bit. We'll see what we can spot. So you'll see there's these mounds. Those are the nests. And I can see one shag sitting up there. As we drift back, we'll be able to have a closer look at them. There'll be some on the cliffs back near the gun emplacements. All right, and then we'll look in towards the rocks here. There is a kikeno, a fur seal on the rocks. See if you can spot them. Shout if you see them. They are pretty good at their camouflage. Oh, there's two. I see two. They look like furry rocks. One is up moving a bit, which might make them stand out more, but yeah, tell me if you see them. And so the one that I'm seeing is, let's see, oh, we're drifting in, hold on. There's one up against the cliff that's laying down quite low, and then there's another one that keeps popping their head up and scratching and stuff. In fact, they're looking right at us right now. Oh, but it's hard for you to see. I'm sorry I can't hold it a little more steady. Oh, there's another one down here near shores. Let's see if we can spot this one. This one might be a little easier to see. They're actually right behind that black-backed gull. You might notice as I'm talking about the animals that I'm using they in a singular sense. And that's something I've adapted because in English we often refer to animals or plants as it. We objectify them. And that leads to all sorts of potential challenges because we end up not seeing them as life but as resources. And so I'm pretty keen to use they or other pronouns when referring to different animals. Simply to kind of work against that objectification. It's one of my subtler ways of encouraging care and conservation. And I encourage you to do the same thing if you're there with me. It's something that I'd often felt, but I didn't actually get words for it until I was reading some of Robin Wall Kimmerer's work, Braiding Sweetgrass, and some of her essays and talks, and she really drew attention to that. Just the fact that in our English language we do tend to objectify the natural world, and that helps us treat it as resources, but it works against our feelings to protect it. Has anyone out there read any of Robin Wall Kimmerer's work, like Braiding Sweetgrass or Gathering Moss? Hello. Whew. Sometimes it's nice to sit and enjoy just the outside. Wherever you are, whether you're outside, whether you're in a rural or outdoor setting, or whether you're in the middle of a city, I highly encourage you to take moments to check in with your senses. That's essentially what I'm doing right now. And remember that you've got more than just eyes. We often are looking for animals, but especially when it comes to bird life, we tend to hear it more than we see it. And so if you're sitting there, take a moment to listen. What you're hearing the most right now, aside from perhaps the waves, of course, shout out what you're hearing, what you're noticing. But what we're hearing right now are the black-backed gulls on the cliff. That's the bird call. There are a couple of little house sparrows chirping. That's all I'm hearing. What are you hearing? What's standing out to you? One of the joys about bringing you out here on these nature outings with me is that we all can kind of focus on different things. And it's really great sometimes to be reminded by someone else to look for something, to pay attention to something. I've got an online friend who often points out the sky and reminds me that the sky is constantly changing and can be a really great source and a really connecting source that we all experience and can kind of center ourselves on, right? Yeah, what are some of the things that you pay attention to when you're outside, or that you look forward to experiencing when you go outside? And I'm going to flip this over while you think on that, so that you can look onto the shore that we're going by, because I am noticing that there are quite a few Kakeno fur seals hanging out over there. And while I won't be able to point them all out to you, I encourage you to look for yourself. Because sometimes the discovery is about as much fun as just being shown something. So I'll tell you they're hanging out up there. I can see, many do I count? Well, maybe I should get you to count. I can see 1, 2... Oh! That one just made a sound. I don't know if you could hear that. There was a bit of a barking, almost a squeak. Like a deep... Yeah, cross between a bark and a squeak, if you will. Someone's talking. Black-backed gull flying by. Just give you a moment to kind of enjoy the sounds and enjoy just being out here with me. There's a kikino scratching themselves on that point before the platform. You can see a couple people out there on the platform. Now, if they're getting really lucky, they could actually see a little blue penguin, though the penguins generally aren't out during the day at all. They're usually out at sea. So I would be really surprised if they're seeing them, but just the way that they're bending down and taking all those photos makes me wonder if there happens to be one that's poking their head out of their burrow at the moment. Unfortunately, we won't be able to get in there to see. We'll have to stay out and respect the reserve. Wonderful reserve. Doing really great work preserving this, keeping predators out, and maintaining a space for all these different animals to have their nests, to make a home. I have a lot of respect for them out there. I would be very surprised if one was out, but we can always hope for their sake. They would be very, very lucky. They may not realize how lucky they are if there happens to be a little blue penguin out. All right, so I'm going to spin us around and start heading back the way we came. So what we'll see now are the gun emplacements from a new angle. We may run into our sea lion friends. We'll see if they're still out playing, making trouble. But we will pull closer to shore just to see if we can get lucky with any of the fur seals and stuff up on the rocks. Again, it's important to me that we're always tempering our curiosity with kindness, being kind to the animals that live here, being kind to their needs, respecting their limits, watching for them to let us know when they're being uncomfortable. I often feel like if you're being watched, they're probably not comfortable. And certainly if they up and move, we've pushed a little too close. The nice thing about us being in the water is that a lot of these animals completely outmaneuver us. And so, as we saw with the sea lions earlier, they have no problem setting their own distance boundaries in the water. We are just slow and floating. I'm reminded as we paddle by these rocks, when I first got here, you could come down onto this beach, and there was one time I was sitting down on these rocks, and this was before I even realized, it was quite early, it was before I even realized that the little blue penguins would nest here. I was sitting on the rocks, and all of a sudden, 5 little blue penguins popped up onto the rocks right next to me and immediately belly flopped. They were trying to hide their white bellies. There are a couple of kikino on these rocks, those New Zealand fur seals. We'll just do a gentle pass by with the zoom. See if you can spot them. I like encouraging you to look for yourself as just a practice. It's amazing how much we actually miss in a day, whether it's bugs or birds. And I think it's so good when we just start practicing to look. The world, in my mind, becomes so much bigger. Plants, shapes, colors. In fact, I was doing a project earlier this year where I was looking at, I was going outside and going on these walks and just being like, okay, I wonder how many colors I can find. Just, oh, hello. Hopefully you could hear that. We had a little bit of a call. I'm not going to take us in any closer. We're close enough with the zoom on, so hopefully you're getting a chance to spot them. Again, shout when you see stuff. I'd love to know when you're seeing things and what you're seeing. In some ways, it's a lot easier for me to see the wildlife than for you while I'm trying to set the camera up. Trying to keep us on one of them here. Hopefully you had a chance to see them. Now, if you would like, I can put an anchor down and we could sit for a little bit and just float together if that's something that you would like to do. But just let me know what's interesting. Otherwise, I'll keep us moving. Again, I'll keep us looking. You see those little white dots? Those are barnacles on the rocks. Barnacles are a little crustacean. Think crabs or shrimp, except instead of swimming around, they give up their motion and glue their heads to the rocks. And then they spend their whole life reaching their little legs up into the water to grab little bits of plankton and stuff. And when the water goes out, they tuck inside to protect themselves from the sun, from drying out. I can see another kikino, another fur seal there on the rocks. You'll hear me say two names when I know them. Kikino, and then I'll follow it with the New Zealand fur seal. Kikino is a Aotearoa Maori name for them, and I like to prioritize that when I know it. I'm still working on vocabulary, and one of the ways that I'm working on my vocabulary is to slowly learn the names of the different animals that I encounter the most. So you'll hear me say, whenever I get a chance, I will say two names when I know them. And I encourage you, if you know any as well, to share them. Now this blackback gull that you might be able to hear is doing a low swoop on us. Now the blackback gulls never really seem to get low enough to actually try to make contact. But that's one of those points that I make where trying to be aware of what the animals are telling you is part of that kindness. So there are a number of juvenile blackback gulls up on the shore, and so what this one is doing is it's essentially telling us, hey, you're getting too close, I'm not comfortable. And so I'm moving us out away from shore just a little bit further, just so that this parent doesn't need to be so worried about our presence, you know? I'm looking down into the water at this point. I'm seeing little black specks. This is the shrimp again. Check this out. Jump! Hopefully you can see them jumping. try zooming out. See if you can spot them. This is maybe a little less kind, getting the shrimp to jump. Also thinking this is pretty normal for them. Oh, and the sea lion friends are back over there. Okay. Alright, I'll zoom us out. We've got the sea lions hanging out and a bit of waves, so just bear with me while we wobble. A couple of boats went by. Just going to take us out away from shore. I'm curious if these little shrimp, if these little krill, bioluminesce. I have been out at night before, and bioluminescence can be a bit of a defense. They will spit their little glowing blue bioluminescence out to try and distract or disorient potential predators. And I've only seen it twice in my life at night. Once when a bunch were washing up on shore, unfortunately. And once there was just a small group of them that were twinkling in a shallow bay. But I'm always curious, whenever I see little shrimp like this, I wonder if they also have that bioluminescent defense at night. Not that we'd be able to see it today. Well, I seem to have lost our sea lion friends. I saw them in towards shore going by. One poked their head up. But maybe they've decided we're boring. Which, as much as I love it when they come and visit us, I'm also slightly happy when they think we're boring. Relieved is maybe the right word. Let me know if you want to take a closer look at anything. Maybe I'll zoom us in on the gulls here. We can see them. So they're eating these shrimp and krill that we were just looking at. I was out here a couple days ago and they were doing the same thing. So these shrimp have been caught in this bay for a little bit now. And when they wash into shore, they're just a delicious smorgasbord for all of these gulls. You'll see there's two different sizes. Again, we've got the red bill and we've got the blackback out here right now. There's another one, the black bill, but they're really hard to identify compared with the red bill. They're about the same size, and young red bills have black bills. So, so they keep us on our toes. And now we're just traveling with the current, pretending like we are floating debris and letting everything be comfortable with us. That's looking in toward Dunedin. And we're about to have some waves here. So I'm just going to turn us into them. Not much, but I'd rather not get tipped sideways. Bear with me for just a moment. And then I'll point us back towards shore so you have somewhere to look at. I guess there's always stuff to look at, to be honest. It's a good reminder. You're always missing something, but that also means you can always find something. Back looking at the World War II gun emplacements, scan the rocks for the Kakeno fur seals. It is a beautiful sunny day today here in Aotearoa, New Zealand, and you know, I really appreciate you all coming to hang out with me on it. I love being able to bring you outside and share our love of nature. Keep your eye out in the water. I have before seen penguins pop up on occasion. Also, I see another one of our kekeno on shore. So we'll just drift and I'll see if I can zoom in just a little. I'll put them in the middle of the screen as best I can as we drift by. We'll just follow the current of the water quietly and carefully. You can try and spot them just having a nap, still a little bit damp. And right now, the water's actually kind of pushing us in. I may need to take us around. Can you see them? In fact, the water's trying to take us right to them. I'm gonna backpedal that. I don't actually want us to go right to them. My friend, I'm sorry. Just looked at. It's like, what are you doing? What are we doing out here on the paddleboard? Oh, hello. Oh, that's actually relatively normal. Nothing to worry about there. A little bit of seal vomit never hurt anybody. Might be just getting rid of some bones or something. Getting a little bit of the real side of nature. Drift by. Hope you're finding this relaxing. I sure am. I love when we get to be out here with wildlife and just remind ourselves that there's so much going on out here all the time. It's something I often kind of reality check myself with if I'm starting to feel overwhelmed in my day, or we're really good at finding things that, hi friend. Hello. We're really good, I was saying, at finding things to distract ourselves sometimes, or we focus on our kind of human things a lot. And I just find it really nice to be reminded of all these different creatures living out here. All these things we share the world with. All right. Oh, look at that movement. Believe it or not, they can actually run on the rocks like this. They'll bound forward a little bit like you might see a dog running. And it always just kind of blows my mind because you wouldn't think something with flippers would be good at running. And yet they can actually move quite quickly when they want to. Even on the rocks. I don't move quickly on rocks. I don't have tough enough feet for it. So again, thank you all for coming to join me today. I appreciate your company. I'd love to hear some of the things that you found interesting in this. It's always interesting to me because in this environment, I'm out here, I'm feeling it. There's kind of a fresh air, a cool breeze, hot sun. I've got a very different experience from the one you're having, but I like to try and bring you into it. And I'm always curious what the experience is like for you. What you are getting out of it, what you're finding interesting. If there's stuff you'd like to take more of a look at, as we go by the shore, I might even flip us around and give us a little bit of a chance to look at some of the smaller things on the rocks. We might be able to pick out some of the sea anemones, maybe some of the barnacles. Although I'm noticing that the current is moving us relatively quickly. So let me flip you around again. And yeah, let's take a look at the rocks. I'll zoom us out first so you can get a sense of place. There's those World War II gun emplacements again. They were set up to help protect the mouth of the harbor in World War II. Now they are essentially canvases for graffiti. But there's some really lovely examples on them, actually. One of my favorites, there's a cormorant, there's a shag that's been painted on the inside of one. I always like it when nature's being appreciated. And now I'm going to zoom us in a little bit towards the shore, and we'll just see. I like thinking about what life is like for some of these animals, right? We have all these creatures, barnacles, anemones, snails. There's all these animals that live right here at the water's edge. And it's fascinating to me to think about what life is actually like in that environment, right? You've got waves that come crashing in, you dry out some part of the time. The sun, something we don't think about, we put our sunblock on, but some of these animals don't move. And so they have to find ways of protecting themselves from the sun. There are anemones that actually pick up shells, and they put shells over themselves, just broken, whatever bits they can find. And that acts like sun protection. Of course, we were talking about colors earlier. Take a moment and just notice and appreciate the different colors. There's kind of a rusty red on some of the rocks. Oh, and I'm going to paddle us so we don't hit the rocks. And in particular, don't run into the, the barnacles, which can be quite sharp. Zoom us back out again. Might take a quick drink of water if you don't mind, so enjoy floating for just a second. There is a shag here on the rock. I believe a young spotted shag. That's probably the best look at them we've had so far. Oh, and there's a diver out here. Amazing. A couple of snorkelers, actually. And a tern. See that little bird that looks a little bit like a gull? They dive down into the water. They've got a sharp pointed beak. And they dive down into the water to catch fish. If we're lucky, oh, there we go. If we're lucky, we'll get to see them go for a dive. Just there in front of where those, yeah. See how they're really working the shallows like, or working the surface like that? Come on, friend, give us a little bit of a dive. Oh! Hello!
Oh, g'day.
G'day. Sorry.
No, you're good.
How is it down there? It looks clear.
Oh, it's not that clean.
Oh, really?
Nah.
No.
Maybe like 2 meters. Not even.
Gotcha. Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
It looks nicer than what it is.
Bummer.
Yeah.
Have you
just
seen?
been paddleboarding out that way?
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. I'm live streaming at the moment.
Oh.
Just doing a little bit of a
Nice.
nature live stream.
Very
Had a
cool.
couple of the sea lions go by. Did you have any of them?
No, we haven't had any of those so far, but they usually do cruise past and
Yeah, fair
say
enough.
hello. But yeah, they're pretty cool. But yeah,
Cool.
awesome.
Well,
Yeah.
Enjoy.
Yeah, you too.
How many of them are you? Just so I
Just
don't.
three.
Just
so,
three. Okay,
yeah,
cool.
so just-
So I'll keep an eye out so I don't come over the top of you.
There you go.
Yeah, good. How are you?
Good.
All right. So I'm just gonna point us up towards the cliff here, so you can see some of the shags. I always find it funny that they just hang out on the edges of the cliff like this. Let's see, can we spot any of them together? They blend in quite well. In their breeding colors, they'll get this beautiful iridescent blue stripe along the side of their head. Spotted shags. I really can't tell if you can see them or not. I'm going to have to paddle here in just a second because we're heading towards some anemones on the rocks. These gorgeous red anemones here. Check these out. Keep us from hitting the rocks themselves. Look at that gorgeous color. Could you imagine an animal that red? Anemones are related to jellyfish. They've got stinging cells and everything. They just usually aren't, they usually just aren't long enough to actually get in through our skin. Look at those colors, they're beautiful. They're like little flowers, but they're an animal. Gorgeous colors. Amazing. And a rock. And then we'll tilt back up because we'll be going by. I just spotted our Kekeno friend again. Just drift by. Oh. I'm just gonna go quiet for a second so we don't disturb them too much. Just quietly drift past. Hopefully without making them too nervous. And we'll just enjoy their presence. Hi, friend. Uh-oh. Carrying on. So that's just the example. Don't necessarily want them to get up and feel like they need to move. But I will circle us out a little bit and give us another look. And that just goes back to reading the wildlife. I often will just like sit and drift. Oh, we might just be going in the water anyway. We're now out quite a ways, zoomed in. Oh, are you gonna have a swim? Oh, buddy. Oh. Thanks for that. to hang out with the divers. It's worth having a look. I'll see if I can give you a look down into the water. It really is quite beautiful. This is how I lose my camera, as it falls off or something. A lot of people don't think about all the different habitats that we have offshore, but you think, like, we've got grasslands, meadows, forests, inland, right? Those are all very familiar. And yet there's all these different types of environments you could describe in the water as well. Right now we're going over a shallow kelp forest, or a thicket, as I might call it myself. This is a great little place for young fish to grow up. Offers a lot of protection. In fact, if I'm snorkeling, I like to go in. It makes me feel a little bit more comfortable. That's a fun fact with a lot of this kelp that we're looking at. Not a plant, believe it or not. It's a type of algae, like that stuff you have growing, you know, the slimy stuff that you get growing in on rocks and stuff in lakes. But it's very specialized. And one thing I think is just really cool about it is that all of them have little bubbles, some way of floating. They want to keep their blades, they're called blades instead of leaves, so they want those to go up to the sun, which is hard in the water, because if the current's going, you'll get bowled over, right? The current will hold you down against the bottom. So they all have some way of floating up to the surface, some bubble, little life jackets, if you will, that allow them to reach up to the surface with their blades. And no matter what tide you're in, they'll be able to get their blades up in the sunlight. And I'll just see if I can, there's some. See if you can see it on my palette. Oops. I suppose I could try to put my anchor down, because there's some other creatures I want to show you here. In fact, I will put the anchor down. Because we've got some other creatures that I think are really cool and underappreciated. So let me just drop anchor, and then we'll take a look at them. Second. There's a big old rock here that has a few of them. The underappreciated life, the life that looks like rocks. And I'll get the anchor down. Anchor's away. Just get sorted. So we can see this rock. Maybe I can grab onto it. That might be better. All right, what have we got going on this rock? Let's check it out. These right here, these big old callus looking things, if you will, little volcanoes, are limpets. They're a type of snail. And what's really cool about them is that they can anchor themselves down under the rock like this, and in some cases they'll return to the same place so often that that they'll create a little mark on the stone. I'm not sure this species that we're looking at right now does that or not, but it's kind of a fun fact. Some of them navigate via magnetic field. They'll have iron in their mouth parts that they can use to find their way home. And they're really good at tolerating the high and low tides both. This shell right here helps them lock water down when the tide's out, so that they don't dry out too much. Because one of the big challenges if you're living on this intertidal zone is drying out and losing the water that you need to survive. So we've got the limpet, 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 a little snail. You probably won't see them move very much unless they're in the water, in which case then they can cruise around just like any other snail. Now there's a couple different types of limpet, and I gotta figure out how to position us again. Give me a second, because there's another animal here that I really like, and I keep telling people they remind me of like dragon scales. The rock-head dragon scales, that would be a chitin. And it's going to take me a second, so you can look up there and see if you can spot them yourself. Hold on. Pushed around just a little bit more than I was hoping. Give me a moment and we'll go back to the chitins. I have to reel us in a little bit. Alright, here we go. So looking for what I lovingly call dragon scales on the rock. At least that's what I tell kids. And those are another little mollusk. And I think they're super cool. They actually can cruise around quite fast. I've seen them on the move, and they really don't tend to like the sun. So they duck into little shadowy crevices where they can just stay out of drying out. I'm trying not to touch my inflatable paddleboard to the barnacles. Both for the barnacles' sake, but also so I don't have to worry about accidentally damaging my paddleboard. Let me turn you so you can see these chitins. Ooh, here we go. I feel like I'm doing some rock climbing all of a sudden. There you go, check these guys out. These are the chitins. And so it'd be so easy to look at this rock and just think that all of these things on here are rock. But instead we've got animals. We've got the chitins here, we've got a limpet, and then we have these barnacles. And the barnacles are all sealed up, but inside that shell are these little feathery arms that come out to grab things out of the water. And it's amazing to me that they can live on such a high, like they spend so much of their time out of the surface, like on such a high part of the tide line. And so I just want to take a moment to appreciate these underappreciated creatures that live out here. Let's see, the limpet and the chitin, they're both herbivores. They're going to be using a zipper-like mouth to eat, to catch different things. Sorry for that. There we go. All right, so they're zipper-like mouth, right? They're gonna basically ice cream lick things with a radula, it's called, and they'll kind of their radula will kind of roll against itself, and it's got these little like teeth that can scrape against they can scrape against the surface. In fact, if you're really curious and want to see it, I do have a video here on YouTube of moon snails, where I've got a video, I'm talking about the moon snails, but the actual recording is of a gumboot limpet on the in the Pacific Northwest. And you can really see the radula, but most of these creatures have something similar, just made out of different things sometimes. The moon snails, their radula does have iron in it, like some of these limpets do. And I don't know if they actually use it for any kind of navigation like some of the limpets do or not, but it certainly makes them tough enough that they can drill through shells, making them one of the more dangerous predators for animals with shells. I'm trying to recover my anchor here now without doing damage to this beautiful kelp thing that we've got underneath of us. So I'm just going to very gently bring it from the bottom. Beautiful. Success. I'll just move us out of the game. Now, how long have we been out here? 112 minutes. Wow. I do not know exactly how long my battery will last. Sort of tempted to go across to the sand flats, but I think I will resist that urge and instead let us drift in along the rocks here to just see if we can spot anything else in close. Hope you're all doing well. I hope you're enjoying this little tour of the Otago Peninsula via paddleboard. I certainly am. Oh, look, some feathers. Oops, I was too slow. Another thing that can be fun to look for are just those traces of life. Oh, I can see a little fish. Cute. Oh, good times. I'm still curious what this is like for you, what you're seeing, what you're finding interesting. What some of your favorite moments are out of this little experience. I see that there have been a number of you hanging out with me just about the whole time. I appreciate that. I enjoy getting out here and doing this stuff on my own, but also I think it's really cool to have an opportunity like this where we can share it together and we can have these experiences together that we otherwise wouldn't have. And the idea, again, the hope is that in looking at these things that are unique, you know, being able to explore and experience things that maybe you don't get to do all the time, it will help you look at your world, the places where you are, in a different way, and maybe help you appreciate some of the everyday things that you might take for granted. I mean, gulls are a great example. I often think even just gulls and pigeons can be so much fun to watch if you give yourself time to look at them, right? If you take a moment and appreciate them as another creature out here sharing the world, and look to see how unique they act each day, all these different behaviors, all these different personalities that you'll see in the animals. I like to think of it, you know, if you've ever had a pet, if you've ever taken care of a pet, people know, and they're used to how unique their pet behaves, how unique their personality can be. And yet we don't often afford that same level of individuality to wildlife. And yet it's going to be out here. And the more you watch, the more you'll see it. And so if nothing else, I'm hoping that we can have a chance to look for it together while we're here, and that you will then have a chance to look for it in your everyday experiences. And maybe then you'll find ways of enjoying the wildlife near you just a little bit more. Anyway, I digress. I'm looking in at the gulls, and there's an oyster catcher here over my shoulder. I should turn around so that I can zoom the camera. I was not expecting to come across stuff there. So let me flip the camera around for you and we'll take a look at these together. Oh, no, the oyster catcher's sleeping. Or at least relaxing. That's great. That means we're not disturbing them too much. Okay, let's zoom in on this oyster catcher. We'll catch a sleepy oyster catcher for a moment. They blend in so well on these black rocks. They're just about in the middle of the frame. There they are, right in the middle now. Got their beak pulled back, their bright orange beak is tucked in underneath their wing. They're still watching us. They're aware that we're here, making sure we don't try and get any closer. We're just gonna drift past them, let them relax. Not worry too much about us and just enjoy that they're there. Hopefully you're seeing them. Again, feel free to shout out if you do. I acknowledge they blend in pretty well, especially when we're looking into the light like this. So any creature that we're seeing, feel free to, oops, I just backed into the rocks. Anything that you're seeing, shout it out. I'm curious to know what you're paying attention to and what you're enjoying, what you're looking for in this little adventure of ours. I'm trying to decide if we want to paddle back out around the point one more time or head in toward the shore. Oh, what? No way! There is a penguin. No way! There is a penguin. That is a little blue penguin. Oh! Amazing. We are so lucky today. Wow. We're gonna drift by again. We're gonna back out first. Last thing I want to do is make any of these animals nervous. But I can't believe that we are seeing a penguin today. Hold tight, we're coming back around. Oh, they're still there. Okay, we're turning. Here we go, friends. Keep an eye, you're looking under the boulders when we get back to them. Looking for that nice white belly. Waiting for it. There they are. Right in there. That is a little blue penguin. Smallest penguin in the world. Smallest penguin in the world. And we are so lucky today. Wow. We're just going to let the current drift us by with it on zoom to give you a chance. They are looking out. They're watching us. That's so cool. That didn't work. Oh, this is so cool. We'll go again. Again, I'm going to paddle out and away. I don't want them to feel nervous. I don't want them to feel seen. In fact, if you're watching birds, a really good thing to do is to just let yourself drift or move naturally on by. They tend to be more nervous when you stop. Oh, and I can't believe we're seeing a penguin today. Trying so hard to keep my voice down. Here we go. We're going to drift back in again. Just let the current take us back. Here we go, and there's the penguin. There they are. Just under the rock there. Oh, wind is picked up. It's going to carry us right in. I don't want that. I mean, as much as I would like that, it's not good for the wildlife. So, give me a moment. We're just going to have to be patient. Back out. And I'll just let the camera rotate. There they are. This is so cool. I can't believe we're getting a penguin today. We have had the best luck with the wildlife. Sea lions, Kikeno fur seals. We even had that albatross earlier. And now the smallest penguin in the world, ducked in under those rocks. And I'm still fighting with the wind, I'm sorry. I wish it could be a little bit more stable. This is great. So again, if you're just joining, we're looking at a little blue penguin tucked in underneath the boulders, hiding. And what's so amazing about this is that for the most part, they'll be out at sea during the day, and they won't usually come to shore until late at night. So this one might just be having a rest, and we got lucky. It's hard to say, but we are so lucky today. And I'm going to have to paddle again because I don't want us to get too close, and the wind is pushing us in. Okay. I do have the camera zoomed in just so that you all know, because it's very important to me that we approach our nature watching with curiosity but also with kindness, so that we're not disturbing the wildlife that we are enjoying. Oh, wow. Shout out for the penguin. Shout out for the penguin. It's amazing. And just such a good example of why you never know what you're going to find when you get out. Like, and why it's important to just go out and try. Because you get these amazing little moments like this where something completely unexpected is just hanging out, having a break. I'm so glad you got to join me for that. That's so cool. We're going to drift by one more time, and then we're going to carry on and probably end up calling that an end of the stream. I just got a warning that my phone battery is getting low. So unfortunately, we're going to have to call it here pretty soon. But what a way to end the stream with a penguin. All because we stopped to look at the oyster catcher and just allowed ourselves to drift. Now the wind is drifting us towards the oyster catcher. So hold on. We're going to try not to make any of this wildlife nervous. Here we go. All right, under the rock, that little white line there, that's the belly of the smallest penguin in the world, Little Blue. I'll try to keep us still and steady. taking us right in again. Gonna have to paddle us. And that is as close as I would let us get. Amazing. Amazing! A little penguin. I couldn't have asked for a better way to end this stream. I really appreciate you all coming to hang out with me. I hope you've had a good time exploring the Otago Peninsula here in Aotearoa, New Zealand. I've had a good time being your guide. I look forward to doing more of these. I love that we could actually zoom in to see different animals, and I hope you've had a really lovely time as well. Definitely want to encourage you to get outside and enjoy the nature near you, no matter what it is. Sky, senses, conditions, wind, even the gulls and pigeons and house sparrows that we share our spaces with are well worth taking a little extra time to look at. I'm Jonas, by the way. Again, appreciate you coming paddling with me. I hope you've had a really, really good time, and we're going to call this the end of the stream. Remember to get out, explore nature with curiosity and kindness, both for yourself and for the creatures that you're enjoying. Take care, and talk to you again later. Bye-bye.